Hi, I just got back from my 10-year class reunion, which was very interesting. It was nice to see everyone. It was kind of cool. It's interesting that people change to a certain extent and context changes, but also to a certain extent, most people don't change in their underlying personality, which is kind of interesting because I do like some shows like the movie Shot Caller or the show, like the pilot episode of Breaking Bad, where there's a pretty extreme change in the main character and in the character of the character, how they view life, how they're acting in life, what they're doing. But for the most part, that doesn't happen. It's kind of an odd or rare occurrence, and to a large extent, it doesn't happen in a huge way in most stories. A lot of the realizations are not super life changing, especially in series, because this person is fairly consistent across a wide range of stories. I just felt that was kind of interesting to see. So it was really nice seeing everyone. Some people came from some pretty far distances. Someone was in from Oklahoma and Illinois and Ohio. So it was nice to reconnect with everyone. I have been puzzling over my model of human psychology, which is this one over here, based on perceptual control theory and control systems, but it appears to be too complex for me to really use very much. It's kind of cool, and I think it's a fairly accurate model of how the mind works, but it's not that usable for me, especially when I'm having issues with my neck and my head. And yesterday, I think I kinked something in my neck that night, and it was bad yesterday, and then it just got worse and worse throughout the day. And I even felt within the same day my cognitive ability significantly slipping. And later in the night, I did a lot of stretching throughout the day. But later in the night, I got a Pedialyte and then did a lot of stretching with that too. And when I slept, when I woke up, I felt a bit better. And I've been doing a ton of stretching today. It seems to be this range of motion and this range of motion. That if I can keep those ranges of motion pretty open, it seems like I function a lot better. So it feels really weird, but I'm functioning pretty well, especially concerning that it's pretty late at night. I just got back from a reunion, which was pretty energetic. I don't drink because I haven't been able to drink since I've had all the damage. Drinking hasn't gone over well, just like the once or maybe twice. It did worry me a little bit that a lot of incidents, things people were bringing up that I should remember that I was a part of, and a hard, foggy slash didn't remember them type of thing. So that was interesting. Worried me a little bit because I've had some of the memory issues. I'm not sure how much of it is that, how much of it is normal. It's kind of weird. And I have been thinking about life is really more of an optimization problem, which is interesting, which falls perfectly in line with perceptual control theory because behavior is the control of perception. So in some cases, you're just trying to minimize something. In some cases, you're trying to maximize something. This something can be more concrete or it can be more abstract. And I think that simplifies it a lot more. If you're just trying to minimize and maximize certain things, you can work to optimize that through a bunch of complex processes, but it's pretty simple to hold in your mind, to think about, to reorient and try to control again. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on that, I think. And and then I still think the failure assumption idea is a good idea instead of success assumption. But we'll see. I've just been kind of playing with it in my head, but it hasn't had any major implications yet. And then also, I have been learning a lot more about fiction, but I've been doing a lot of studying, more reading of books about writing and reading some fiction stories. I've been reading some Sherlock Holmes and Stephen King, George Martin, C.S. Lewis, Chronicles of Narnia I started, which I haven't read before. And that has really deep layers of meaning as a story on top, and then it has the religious layer of meaning. But deeper than that, he was a medieval historian. So the seven books are based on the seven planets from medieval history and all the mythology from the medieval times that are associated with those specific planets, which is super interesting. It's a very deep layer of meaning, and it really brings a lot of cohesion to the whole story, which famously Tolkien said that C.S. Lewis in Chronicles of Narnia, it was a big hodgepodge, but really not. It's strung together very well, just at a layer or a level that he didn't tell people, so it was hidden for a while. But now we know about it, and it's super interesting. So that's some of the stuff I've been thinking about. I'm really hoping that the stretching helps a lot with the neck stuff. I think controlling the muscle tension in my neck is going to be huge because, I mean, the stuff gets pulled out of place and I get really bad physically, mentally, and super painful. I mean, it's always painful anyways. I always have a headache anyways, but it gets really bad. I get the light sensitivity pretty quick when it gets bad, and all sorts of stuff, sound sensitivity, and it's really hard to focus. It's really hard to comprehend things, so it kind of just slows me down to a large extent. So I'm hoping by working on the ability to control this muscle tension, I can improve that a lot. And then hopefully with just looking at life as a simple optimization problem, I'll be able to improve my focus a little bit too. It's kind of what I'm hoping, and I think I'm getting a little better at accepting that I won't be able to do certain things. Just a couple of weeks ago, I turned down the job to go teach in China, and that was a little bit disturbing because something I would normally leap at. It's a natural reaction to say yes to something like that, and it threw me off there for a little while to have to turn that down. But I mean, it only makes sense that I would turn it down. I can't take it. So I have to accept that and reorient and change, but that's been a little bit of a slower process than I was hoping that it would be, but I think I'm getting there. So anyways, that's what I've been up to recently, what I've been thinking, what I've been working on, and until next time.